is not naturally inspiring will think of ruling people. I've never thought of ruling people because I think it's too crude. Well, can we inspire the entire world? Sadhguru, you yourself have admitted you are a failure. Yes, I am. Can we inspire the whole world? Some people need to be ruled. Maybe right now it is true, but it need not remain that way. Are you a hopeless optimist? No, I am not. But I know a human being is a possibility. Well, the period of treatment that was needed for me was a bit long, but I know what kind of a human being I was and today how I am within myself. So if I could be transformed, I'm sure you could be too. Yes, and I'm sure everybody can be. Only problem is, some people have invested heavily to their own belief systems, their own scriptures, their ideologies. Heaven-bound people, you know. Just like to inform them, though all mass transportation in the world is largely down, transportation to heaven is not down. I'm just informing you. So those who think this is not a good place to live, there is a better place to live somewhere else, they are the only people who take a long time to transform. Hard to inspire them because only one foot is here, another foot is up there. Only one ear is here, the other ear is there, making up things that they don't hear. So because of that, inspiration in the right direction may take much longer. Otherwise, this virus time is a good time actually, because virus is reminding you. I have been, constantly talking, reminding you of your mortal nature. But look at the efficiency of the virus. I took 38 years and I've convinced of, maybe nearly 1 billion people today that you are mortal. But in one shot, in 2 months, I don't have the efficiency of the virus. But the virus has done this job, it has reminded us how fragile and mortal we are as a life. Let's use this well, because if you do not know this, in the yogic culture, the first step towards spiritual process, before initiation, always, was the seeker or the sadhaka should go and spend a certain amount of time in the cremation grounds. You will always see Shiva himself sitting like this in the cremation grounds, because the idea is to bring home the fundamental reality that you're mortal. Why is this so important? It is the most important thing because you have limited amount of time, that's what mortality means. Otherwise, in your silly mind you go on thinking, what will I do tomorrow, what will I do day after tomorrow, what will I do next day, next day, next day, as if you're going to be here forever. If you go sit in the cremation ground, one body after another, who look just like you are all being burnt to ashes. Burial will not do that because you will imagine that they are down there and they will do something. Cremation does that very clearly, brings it home that you are mortal. So in a way, this first part of the sadhana that the yogic culture demanded from everybody, now a pandemic like this, unfortunately such a thing has to happen for people to realize, it's coming home that a lot of people who thought they were immortal, rich and poor, are beginning to… Poor are always generally conscious, it's the rich who think they are forever. Because in the comfort of the four walls, you're not even alive, you're preserved. When you continuously live among the four walls, you get the false idea that you're preserved for good. One day, for most of you, one day or one night of, let us say, fierce weather. I refuse to use the word bad weather, that's from English culture. We don't have bad weather. Some days the weather is fierce and fantastic. Like yesterday night, it's pouring rain. One night like that you spend in the forest. I've spent many. One night you spend like that, it will come home to you very strongly how fragile a worm you are. The worms know how to survive. You will not, you will struggle with all your brains. How to manage if you don't have any kind of equipment, which is how I went into the jungle, without any equipment, only my HMT watch. The industry itself is closed down, I think, now. The damn thing would get fogged within 5 minutes of the rain, can't even see the time, you can't read the stars, you can't feel if sun is coming up, not coming up because it's overcast and pouring. Then you will see you don't know the directions because everything is… almost you're blind in terms of your direction. So either you keep going round and round or you try to sit down in one place and you see the worms, the insects, and of course the tigers and the elephants, they are all well equipped, they're all managing. You are the only creature who's really struggling to find your place there. You clearly it comes home how fragile you are. One mistake, you will not see sunrise. One mistake, you will not see sunrise, that's how it is. So living in the comfort of four walls, most human beings have this feeling that they're preserved, because in a box you always feel like that. So cremation ground and then forests were two instruments which were always used in the yogic culture as a way of bringing this home to you, because if one has to become a genuine spiritual seeker, this is the most important thing, that you know that you have a limited amount of time. But people are more cunning than that. They started talking about eternal life elsewhere. Well, in India, you came up with, I will come back another 100 lives. Well, people try to find ways in their mind how to be more than this life. There are ways to be more than this life, but not psychologically. You can't make up something, it's not going to work like that. Even if you believe that you're going to heaven, if somebody points a gun at you, at your head, you will tremble. Well, you must be ecstatic, you're going to heaven. But such a thing won't happen, because the life knows. In your head you can make up all kinds of rubbish, but the life inside knows that if it leaves this shell of this body, then what is next has remained. So, inspiration. Whoever the Frenchman who said this, definitely, if a sage or a group of sages, as it is, as the idiom says, were ruling the planet or the nation, would be definitely better than all kinds of fools ruling. But would those group of sages be dictators? If they are sages, they won't be dictators. Because to be a sage and to dictate won't go. If they are sages, if there were so many of them in France, I don't know how you would find so many in France. They would inspire. See, changes happened in France of an inspired revolution. Maybe not sages, maybe workers, but inspiration, not because of dictatorship. But today, democracy, which is a fantastic idea, has its problems. Because slowly political parties, individual people, those who aspire for power have understood the mechanics, especially I think in the last 20-25 years, they have understood the mathematic and the mechanic of winning an election, which which is no more democratic. It is becoming a kind of a professional expertise of how to manage the numbers. But still, it is a better way. Essentially, democracy and dictatorship, democracy versus monarchy, democracies versus dictatorship. The most useful aspect of this democracy is you can change power without blood flowing on the streets. And it changes all the time, which is both a plus and a minus. Most of the time there is no continuity of effort for the upliftment of the nation, because every 4 years, 5 years when they change, what one group of people have done, another group of people want to reverse. We are seeing this across the world. So many calamities happen because of that. But in spite of that, you only have to endure these… whoever is elected only for 5 years max in the world. I think some governments are 6, I think. 4, 5, 6, that's it. But if you get a dictator or a monarch, you will have to endure them for 25 to 30 years. At least this change of scene, that's the best thing about democracy.
Next question.